What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight it is May 25th. It's almost 6 o'clock Central Time. We're going to be going live here with a best ball draft on Drafters. I'm going to hop into a screen share here, show you guys what we're working on tonight. I did a Best Ball Mania 4 last night on Underdog. This one's Drafters. There's a promo code if you guys are new to Drafters. Check it out. You can get a nice little deposit bonus there if you're new. But this is the Drafters Million 2 NFL Best Ball Championship. Buy-ins $20. We're doing the 30 seconds fast draft here. First place is $300K. Max entries is $150. This is my third entry in here, and they're running a nice little promo right now too, where if you draft 3 teams, you get 1 mini ticket. So I've been hammering the minis. We'll draft our 3 teams here and collect a free mini ticket. But let's get into it. It looks like we have drawn the 4th overall pick here. Lately, just doing as many drafts as I've done so far in May, I've been getting the 11th spot a lot. We'll see what happens at 4 here. But yeah, man, let's have some fun with it. We'll see if we can get some stacks and some fun correlations built. But yeah, Drafters Best Ball Million 2 contest. And I do want to shout out some things on the fantasyfellowship.com. Our 2023 playbook is completely free this year. It's got rankings. I went and updated all my projections today. I'm going to have to update some things on the team tabs and the rankings at some point, maybe next week. But it's early, guys. It's May. I think this will be my last live stream before the holiday weekend. I probably won't do any drafts this weekend as well. I need to probably cool it. I'm up to probably 40 plus mini tickets on Drafters. And I'm kind of waiting for some more, just waiting for some more data to come out before we get too far ahead of ourselves here. But we're in it to win it. And I'm probably going to try and again, I'm going to probably be streaming at least 1 or 2 best balls per week. We'll also start flinging out some mock drafts. So, hey, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely subscribe, hit that like button. Help us get to our next subscriber goal is 1,000. So if you guys want to hook us up, hook us up. But we're up to pick here. JJ, Chase, McCaffrey. These are kind of the consensus top 3 picks. At 4, Cooper Kupp. Probably going to go with Cooper Kupp here. I need to get more exposure to Cooper Kupp, so we'll draft him. We'll look at the Rams offense and kind of start to think about what we might be looking at there. I was not super excited about the Rams offense, and now that I've probably got over 60 drafts under my belt so far. I am underweight on Cooper Kupp, so I'm starting to target him whenever I get the 3rd, 4th, 5th pick. He usually doesn't fall past 6 or 7. I have gotten there a couple times, but people forget, man, Cooper Kupp was on a mission last year before injury. And again, for PPR purposes, he is the perfect guy for you. I mean, the first 2 weeks, 31.8, 31.8, 16.4, just massive games here from Cooper Kupp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over 100 yards, ton of touchdowns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like all in the first 9 weeks of the season. Cooper Kupp was the best fantasy football player until his injury. So we're getting him on a little bit of a discount. And I know Matthew Stafford isn't exactly healthy himself, but it sounds like Stafford's doing pretty well. And I think we should get a little excited about this Rams passing offense, because guess what? Their defense not going to be very good this year. I want to look at that Rams depth chart here. 1, they're in a tough division, and 2, they're probably slated to win maybe 7 or 8 games this year. I mean, looking at their defensive line, sure, they still have Aaron Donald there. A lot of young draft picks in here. Don't know any of these linebackers, to be honest with you. And the secondary is pretty sus. So I'm looking at the Rams as a potential team that has a really weak defense. Teams are going to be able to put up points on them, which means Matthew Stafford and company probably going to have to throw the ball more than they are wanting to. And we're not too far removed from Matthew Stafford putting up 601 passing attempts in the Super Bowl year. Jared Goff has thrown for 626 passing attempts in that offense before too. So I think we probably need to start expecting Matthew Stafford to approach 600 plus passing attempts. And from there, Cooper Kupp, man, could be the guy you need. But anyways, we're moving here. Travis Kelce at 6 is fine. Austin Eckler at 9 is interesting. It's I'm starting to see Bijan sometimes slip to the back end of the first. Bijan has gone. I've seen Bijan go as high as 3 overall, ahead of McCaffrey, which is weird to see. But those are the primary. I haven't really seen any other running backs in the first round other than CMC, Eckler, and Bijan. I do need more Eckler exposure, so I'm trying to target him more at the back end of the first round. This is a really popular stack too here at the end of the first round. Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb, the Dallas-Detroit matchup here. But we're on deck. We got Cooper Kupp. It would have been nice to correlate with Saquon Barkley. But Nick Chubb, Devonta Smith, Josh Allen, Chris Olave. Let's see, the Rams. I want to go look at that. I think I'm going to lean into Philadelphia here. I love Nick Chubb. I do need more Nick Chubb exposure here, but we're going to go back-to-back receivers, Cooper Kupp and Devonta Smith. We're going to pull up my best ball cheat sheet here. And this is a fun schedule grid that basically lets me know which teams are playing who in the playoff weeks. And for drafters, it's not as important because there's no playoff structure. It's just top teams weeks 1 through 17 are going to bring home the championship, whereas underdog and DraftKings, you do have to get through these weeks playoff style. But the Rams are going to get Washington, New Orleans, and the Giants. I think I kind of want to maybe correlate some Saints in this too, because the Saints, where's New Orleans? I can't read it. Where is New Orleans? New Orleans is going to get the Giants, the Rams, and the Bucks. So I'll talk about that in a second. I probably should have considered Chris Olave with Cooper Kupp, seeing that now. Tennessee, Derrick Henry. I do like Derrick Henry, but I'm going to pump up DK Metcalf here. So we got three stud wide receivers: Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. These guys are Cooper Kupp's my wide receiver 4. DK and Devonta are both in my top 15 of wide receivers. But I want to just shout out here. So we have some correlation potential here because the Saints and the Rams both play the Giants in the final week. So if I maybe look at building some of those teams, if I'm just looking at the Rams, the Giants, and the Saints, we could have a nice a triple stack opportunity here. Otherwise, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to target these teams at the top: Dallas, Miami, Buffalo, the Chargers. These teams all have super nice schedules for the final playoff push. But maybe it's not as important on drafters. We're going to try and correlate some week 17 stacks for sure to get us that extra push we need. And again, the Rams get the Giants, the Eagles get the Cardinals, and I can't remember who the Seahawks get. I believe the Seahawks get the Steelers. Yep, the Seahawks get the Steelers. So we'll see if we can correlate some of those teams into our build. The Seahawks also play Philadelphia week 15, so we can maybe look at some more of those guys. But anyways, I'm starting to see quarterbacks slide into the third round that we're going in the second round. You see Josh Allen there falling to 27. Breece Hall over Derrick Henry is interesting. Mark Andrews in the middle of the round there. And then Calvin Ridley, Deebo Samuel. I'm as someone who's done over 60 drafts so far this year, I think you want you want to be in the top 5 or 6 picks. Ideally, you want the 1 or the 2 because you get JJ and you get Jamar Chase, and you can see all like Higgins, Olave. You get a lot of good options to look at the turn here. When you're at the back end of the draft order, like I don't love what's going on here at the 3-4 turn. Like all these guys do have some question marks, and it kind of feels like a potential boom bust danger zone as far as receivers, running backs. The running backs have completely fallen off at this point here. Really close. I guess after Najee and ETN, there's a steep drop off in running back potential. But as it stands right now, we have 3 stud wide receivers. We're going to try and pound some running backs later in the draft. See if we can correlate some guys with our current starters. I do want to keep this is my cheat sheet, and you can check out the cheat sheet. I did update those on the fantasyfellowship.com. It's free in the draft kit. We did get Cooper Kupp. We got Devonta Smith and DK Metcalf. I'm just going to highlight these guys green so we can see what we got here. So I have 3 of my top 15 receivers. Feeling pretty good about that. And yeah, we're moving on here. 3 picks up in a second here. Najee, Watson, Hopkins are the top 3 available. Najee's an interesting guy. He's not a super sexy pick, but because we don't have a running back yet, like Najee could be a nice little fit for us. He does have a lot of low floor games here, like 10, 13, 13, 12, 11, 11. Like he's got a low floor potential here, and he's available. So we're at pick 45. Najee is 37.5 overall ADP. Part of me wants to take Christian Watson here to be our fourth wide receiver, but man, the value on Najee Harris right now, I'm gonna pass. We're gonna go with Christian Watson. We're gonna commit to the zero running back build. And now we got Kupp, Devonta, DK Metcalf, and Christian Watson. If you're curious, I do have Watson as my wide receiver 22, and we are kind of passing on some guys that I have ranked ahead of him. But in order to get Watson on the team, that's where we have to do it. And the Packers have a pretty interesting fantasy playoff schedule as well. They're going to get the Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, and the Minnesota Vikings. I think Christian Watson could have a nice, maybe he's on a nice little bender for that streak of games. I think that's an interesting, not the best teams. Tampa Bay and Carolina, probably not playoff teams this year. Christian Watson could have some nice moments against them. And Najee Harris does fall to 46. I kind of make this guy take his third running back there. And there's kind of a method to the madness, I think, right now. The wide receivers, you want to pound them early because there's a drop-off coming. I think, to me, after this tier of Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, Brent, like after this round here, which is kind of the 8th round, 7th round, 8th round wide receivers, this is what you're looking at. Sutton, Thomas, Bateman, a lot. Like, I kind of want to stay away from that. So I'm trying to build a wide receiver group that has a lot of star power. And for what we're looking at here, all these guys are starters for me. You get to start 3 wide receivers. You get to start 1 flex. And now we are on the clock. Kenneth Walker is interesting here. We do need a running back, but I guess I'm going to kind of push it a little bit. We could get a guy like DJ Moore, who to me is probably I'm slightly underweight on DJ Moore. When I was doing my Drafters has a nice tab where you can see your player exposures. I think I've only drafted DJ Moore maybe 2 or 3 times in my 60 drafts, so I need to get more exposure to him. And all of a sudden, we have our first guy on the bench. We have 5 straight wide receivers. It's fun. Wow. Deontay Johnson at 53. I would have considered drafting him if he came back around, but Deontay's a guy that we've been targeting aggressively this week because dude didn't score a touchdown last year. I mean, he still had a lot of useful weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of his games last year were over double digits, and he didn't score a touchdown. Like that to me, give me Deontay Johnson all day in the 6th round, and I guess pretty aggressive buy there at the beginning of the 5th. He didn't think he was going to come back at the 68 spot. So we'll keep an eye on Mr. Whiskey Rider here. Just to see what he does with his 68th pick, because he's clearly wants Deontay on the squad. Let's see. No tight ends in the 5th round yet. There goes Justin Herbert. This guy's, what are we doing here? Lamar, Burrow, and Herbert. Oh my goodness. And it's his 131st draft. I'm wondering if he's auto drafting, because that's a bad pick. You do not want 3 stud QBs. He probably would have been fine with Lamar and Joe Burrow, honestly, for the rest of the draft, but I'm assuming he's kind of auto drafting here and just burning a $20 entry. But anyways, we're having fun here with this receiver group. A lot of fun with this wide receiver group. Smith-Njigba at 59. Again, I had a Lockett. I don't get that one, guys. I think the only way Smith-Njigba has consistent relevance for fantasy football this year is if Lockett or DK get hurt. And I get it. He's got super high upside, but I don't know if I can take him over Tyler Lockett at the moment right now. But we're moving into the 6th round. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. I have been targeting San Francisco players this week. And I've been looking at Debo because I was light on Debo exposure. I was looking at Ayuk. I was looking at Kittle, and also starting to snag some Brock Purdy shares at the end. As the report was, he's expected to start throwing this week or next week, which is exciting. There's a good chance that he's participating at some capacity in training camp this year, and he's on track to play week 1. So that's exciting things in San Francisco. I think Brock Purdy could be a tremendous value if he is the starter week 1. We missed on Aaron Jones. That would have been a nice snag here. So this guy hoarding his 4 running backs, and we're the only team without a running back at the moment. So we'll see. I guess this guy right here, with the auto draft going on, he does not have a running back either. I guess Dameon Pierce is interesting. But guess what? I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on him. I'm gonna take Treylon Burks. This is a guy that I want to target aggressively. And after doing so many drafts, like this is only my third $20 draft on drafters, but I'm up to 40 plus on the $3 contest, and I've been trying a lot of things. I've never gone this deep where I haven't had a running back or any like I 6 straight receivers, man. Like I'm literally just trying to do some different things with this. And now like we're stacked. We got Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, and Treylon Burks. We got a lot of stack potential here left, whether it's Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, Jordan Love, and I guess maybe Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis. We'll see what happens. I could have probably taken Dameon Pierce here, but again, he's a Houston Texan running back. They're not going to win a lot of games. I thought Dameon Pierce played really well last year, but he doesn't have a lot of boom. And for best ball weeks, I want that boom. So he's only had 2 games over 20 points. Otherwise, he was just kind of 12 to 15 points most often. And a guy like Treylon Burks, we know he's got some boom potential. So we're up to pick here. Again, I have not drafted a running back yet, but they're kind of starting to look good at the moment, whether it's Cam Akers or maybe David Montgomery here at 78. I do need more of him. Cam Akers here. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go with Cam Akers. We're gonna stack him with Cooper Kupp and potentially look at building some Rams offense. I haven't done a lot of research on whether it's a good idea to stack your running back with, wide receivers and things like that. But Cam Akers had a really nice end of the season last year. Let's look at some of his numbers. And again, I'm trying different things at this point. It's May. I want to get exposure to tons of different players. But Cam Akers, his last 3 games against Denver, the Chargers, and Seattle, which 2 of those were playoff teams, and Denver was playing better at the end of the year. But 3 straight 100-yard games, multiple receptions in 3 of his last 4 games. Some big fantasy points here: 13, 34.7, 14.3, and 15.8. And to be honest, they really didn't bring in any running back competition. What I like about Cam Akers, and I want to stress this on the streams all summer, is I am a firm believer that I want to buy players coming off their first year of a serious injury. So if you guys remember, last year, Cam Akers, it was his first year back from an Achilles injury. 2021, he ruptured that Achilles and had to sit all 2021. Usually in that first year back, you don't want to draft those players because, again, they're just kind of getting their feet back under them and getting their conditioning and just getting their strength back in that whatever injury they had. So Cam Akers is definitely one of those guys that qualifies to me. Another guy would be Michael Gallup, Chris Godwin. I'm sure there's other guys that I'm missing that were hurt in 2021, come back in 2022, have some success. 2023, those guys are primed and ready to load for a pretty big season. So no tight ends yet, no quarterbacks for us at the moment. I do need to start buying some Darren Waller shares. I need more Evan Ingram. I need more Dallas Goedert. So for me, my most used strategy so far has been get a bunch of tight ends at the end of the draft, whether it's 3, sometimes 4 guys. The nice thing about drafters is it's 20 rounds. And it's full PPR. You can find a lot of tight ends valuable at the later part of the drafts. So for me, I wanted to just really build out that super sexy wide receiver group and see what happens. But anyways, we are almost back up. I have been very interested in Quentin Johnson, who just got picked. But we're probably going to take James Conner here. We're picking at 94. His ADP is 83. We do need some more running backs here. So Conner had we'll look at his numbers in a second here, but one of the things that I like is Arizona plays Philadelphia, whatever, week 17. We'll grab that correlation here. But James Conner, welcome to the team. And I am light on James Conner share, so I do need more of that. But let's look at what James Conner did at the end of last year. And keep in mind, Kyler Murray was not playing for a good stretch of those games. I just want to see what games he last played in. So week 14 was Kyler Murray's last game. So James Conner, without Kyler Murray, his final 3 games, he had 18.1 fantasy points, 25 and 14, when James Conner returned from injury in week 9, every game was over double digits. One 100-yard rushing game. He scored touchdowns in 6 straight games starting week 10 through week 16. Touches, at least 15 carries or at least 14 carries in all these games here at the end of the year. And then look at the receptions. 3, 2, 3, 6, 3, 7, 3. He's a bell cow back. And I know he's had trouble staying healthy. I get it. But for the most part, James Conner balled out last year. And he's currently in 8th round. And I kind of like those prices right now. But anyways, we're up to pick here. Again, we do need more running backs. Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, DJ Moore. We don't have any Miami Dolphins to correlate here. We can look at QB later. My guy, Pat Frymouth, I love the tight ends there. Do not love the wide receivers here. So we're going to go back to the running back well. I have not been taking a lot of Javonte Williams because, again, and I want to stress this, I don't love taking players in their first year after a significant knee injury. And I did see Javonte Williams was at OTAs today, which was ahead of schedule. But, again, that's just – OTAs is basically just cardio and jog walk through practices. So again, I like Javonte Williams a lot. I think 2024 is going to be the year where I'm probably all back in on Javonte. But for this year, I want to be buying Samaje Perine. Because keep in mind, like Samaje Perine last year, and keep in mind some of these games were in a limited role behind Joe Mixon. Like, dude's really, really good at pass blocking, pass protection, and he's a really good receiving back. You can see a handful of games here where he had more than 3 plus upwards of 5, 6 receptions. He's a good goal line back. He can, he's basically just a coach's best friend there. And he's got some spike weeks. You see 14, 9.6, 30, 19. These were, I believe, the 3 games where he started for Joe Mixon. And I'm not saying he's going to do this all the time, but hey, if he gets double-digit touches on a weekly basis, I think Samaje Perine is going to have a pretty safe floor there. And like I said, after doing so many best ball drafts, I want more exposure to players that I haven't drafted a lot already. And Perine's on that list. So we ended up starting with 3. I guess we started with 6 wide receivers. Have done 3 running backs straight here, and we have a little bit of correlation with our stacks. We got Cooper Kupp and Cam Akers on the same team. Rams do play the Giants, so I'm going to probably be looking at some New York Giants later in the draft. But we want to target more Rams. I think the Rams is a good offense you want to buy into right now because their prices are cheap. And then the Cardinals with Devonta Smith is fine. I don't see any other strong correlations here quite yet. But I'm interested in looking at week 15 and 16 as potential stack options. Seattle and Philadelphia play that week 15. There's another one here that I missed. Again, the Giants, we want to target probably Giants and Saints because that's all kind of correlating with the Rams and Philadelphia. But anyways, moving into the 10th round of the draft. At this point, receivers still really ugly. Lazard, Beckham, Jacoby, Rashee Rice, I don't want to be targeting these guys. We'll probably come back to that. When these guys start looking better, we'll start to look at receiver. We do need a tight end. Chigo Okonkwo is the next best available, but I don't know if I'm comfortable taking him at 124, 117 quite yet. Maybe we'll look at Tyler Higbee later in the draft to correlate with our Rams guys. Rashad Penny, I mean, we're almost on deck here. I think Rashad Penny and Devin Achane are probably where I'm going to be going with this. I could snag a quarterback here. I need to look and see what teams ahead of me have taken quarterbacks. So Kirk Cousins and Dak, he's got 2. He's got Daniel Jones. He's got Josh Allen. So I have to be prepared that these guys might take. So there's Devin Achane. I'm going to grab Rashad Penny. We're going to grab another guy in that Philadelphia Arizona stack situation. And with Rashad Penny, man, dude's really good running back when he's healthy. He had the massive game against the Lions last year, 28.7. His floor is anywhere between 5 and 8 points. We know he's not really used as a receiving back. He can catch the ball, but I think he's the best first and second down running back on the Eagles. And again, if he's healthy, he's probably gonna lead the team in yards. If we can get 12 to 15 games out of Rashad Penny, he's probably a hit. And again, at this point, we went so heavy on the wide receivers that we're basically just trying to throw some darts and see what sticks. Um, Quarterbacks here: Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Probably not a bad idea to maybe pull one of these guys as our QB1. Again, we have DK Metcalf with Seattle. We can maybe grab the Geno DK stack. Running backs here: Jamal Williams. Can maybe grab one of those guys. Not excited about the wide receivers. Chico Conco, I don't want to really reach on ADP. I love grabbing guys below ADP. You got Geno Smith here. He was supposed to be taken at 114. So I think that's probably the smart play here. So we'll grab Geno. Let's look at Geno's numbers from last year. So we just correlated Geno Smith with DK Metcalf. That's our stack right there. We can maybe grab Noah Fant later. It would have been nice to grab Lockett or somebody else, but he went at the beginning of the 6th round. But Seattle, they're going to get Philadelphia week 15, Tennessee week 16, and then there's Pittsburgh. I do like Pittsburgh a lot. We don't have any Pittsburgh guys on the squad. Deontay and Pickens are gone. Pat's gone, so we're not going to be able to get any Pittsburgh guys. But I do like Geno with Seattle. Let's look at some of Geno's numbers from last year. And keep in mind, like, this dude was written off last year. He had multiple games, well over 300 passing yards. Seattle invested in the wide receiver position with JSN. They invested in a backup running back with Zach Charbonnet. Improved offensive line. Like, why can't Geno Smith have a better year than he did last year? I know he was uber efficient. Look at all the games with double touchdowns. Like, pretty much only 5 games last year he did not throw for more than 2 touchdowns. So pretty impressive numbers here. You see upwards of 30 points, 24. I just want to lock Geno in there. Super safe QB1. But let's look around. As you're in the 11th, 12th round here, you're starting to see just a mix of all the colors. The value here, Russell Wilson probably should be taken. He's got an ADP of 122. We're on pick 134. Derek Carr is probably going to be taken pretty soon here. I do want to look at potentially getting my guy Matthew Stafford on this squad, stacked with Cam and Cooper Kupp. Tyler Higbee went. That would have been a good get here if he fell. I think he was taken about 7 picks ahead of ADP, so that's a bummer. Running backs, I love Jaylen Warren. I mentioned maybe wanting to get some Pittsburgh-Seattle correlation. I guess Jaylen Warren's the last best option, and Jaylen Warren does have. I think he's got a role on the team on a weekly basis. You can see even when Najee was healthy last year, he had 11 carries, 12 carries in these games. He's involved as a receiver. Only scored 1 touchdown all year. I would bet he scores more, but I think there's something here with Jaylen Warren. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over double digits. I think this guy took him here. Unfortunately, he's got a slew of running backs. So we missed on Jaylen Warren, but I think round 12, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want Jaylen Warren as one of my 4th or 5th running backs on the squad. The receivers here are just janky, man. Osborne, Thielen, like, I love Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup's one of my dudes. We don't have a tight end yet. Irv Smith, Sam Laporta. I don't really want to reach on these guys yet. Derek Carr still available. These guys all have 2 QBs except this guy here. So we're gonna lock in Matthew Stafford. That's a stack that I can't afford to miss. So I will take Geno and Stafford as my 2 QBs. Stafford, I got him stacked with Cam Akers, Cooper Kupp. Maybe we'll look at Van Jefferson later in the draft. And then Geno Smith with DK Metcalf. And then what's cool too is these guys play. Do they play? I thought the Seattle and the Rams, they do not play. Okay, that's fine. But the Rams get the Giants, Saints, Commanders, and we'll need to target some of these teams here. But anyways, yeah, so there's the QB run. Derek Carr, Jordan Love. These guys all took this guy took his 3rd quarterback, and this guy's got Daniel Jones and Derek Carr. So I'm glad we grabbed Stafford there. I think we played that well. At this point of the draft, there's like nobody that like I'm pounding the table for to get on my team. The running backs here, I like Algier. He's a good handcuff option. Rashawn Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary. I feel okay with my running backs right now. Cam Akers, James Conner, Perine, and Penny. I think that's enough. I might want to look at I got to take Michael Gallup here. Just kind of, I kind of want to take Michael Gallup here. I don't love the tight ends at this point. We can punt on that. We're gonna continue to build our receiver depth here, and we get Michael Gallup, Cowboys wide receiver. And again, at the beginning of the show, he's just one of those guys that I mentioned where last year it was his first year back from a pretty serious injury, and he really quite wasn't himself quite yet. And last year we see he returned to week 4, a double-digit game here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with double-digit points. Basically, how I view that is anytime a player gets, anytime a running back, receiver, tight end gets double-digit weeks, I think he's got a good chance to start on my team. So we get Michael Gallup there. The Cowboys do play the Lions week 17. So I like that. He's unstacked for us, which is fine. But I do love Michael Gallup quite a bit. And there we go. We have a super studded wide receiver group: Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, Treylon Burks, and Michael Gallup. I think we maybe need one more QB on this team. I don't want to take Treylon Burks as quarterback, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, at this point, the quarterbacks are pretty much beaten up. I have mentioned I really do like the Steelers' offense this year. I think that's another, kind of like the Rams, that's another offense that is very cheap to acquire stacks. I mean, you can get Deontay Johnson, George Pickens in the 6th, 7th round of drafts. You can get Pat Freiermuth in the 9th. You can get Kenny Pickett for free here, probably in the 15th round. And then Jaylen Warren's pretty achievable as well as Najee Harris. So the Steelers, I think, are underpriced. Very similar to what I'm talking about with the Seahawks, man. Like, they improved their offense. They invested in the offensive line. They added Allen Robinson as the 3rd receiver, which is fine. They added Darnell Washington to that offense to make it a little bit more dynamic. But the offensive line is the huge part. And it's also year 2 of Kenny Pickett. I think I want to bet on Kenny Pickett having a just a more efficient second year as a pro. But anyways, we're moving into the 14th round here. We do need to start looking at tight ends. And I've waited so long on tight end here. And guess what? There's still guys here that averaged 9-10 points a game last year, whether it's Juwan Johnson, whether it's Gerald Everett. I think Dawson Knox still has some spike weeks in him. Taysom Hill, like, look at all these tight ends. Tyler Conklin with his new Aaron Rodgers stack there. We could get Jake Ferguson, who I expect to be the starting receiving tight end in Dallas. And we can easily stack Noah Fant with our guy. Even Zach Ertz is I don't mind Zach Ertz. I know that kind of is my exception because Zach Ertz had a pretty serious ACL injury last year. He's coming back in his first year. Don't love to do that, but he's kind of free at the end of drafts right now. But anyways, we're moving and grooving here. Quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett's the top available. We could take him at ADP. Running backs, Tank Bigsby, Jeff Wilson, Kenneth Gainwell. We could get Kenneth Gainwell and kind of lump him in with Rashad Penny. I don't hate that. He's at 171. I think Tank Bigsby's an interesting pick. MVS is going to be probably the Chiefs receiver that runs the most routes. So we're going to punt on tight end. This guy's got Irv. He's going to take a tight end on us. And he's got Komet. How many seconds? I got 10 seconds to do the job. F it. We're going to go Kenny Pickett. Let's be done at the quarterback position. Pickett correlates with our Geno Smith stack with DK Metcalf, week 17. It's nice to have 2 quarterbacks, I think, in that matchup. And that's kind of like the end of like the quarterbacks I feel good about being starters for the full season. Like, I think it's pretty safe that Pickett's going to be the guy all year. And we got options at tight end. This guy's probably going to take a tight end. He's only got Irv Smith on his squad. This guy's got Hawkinson and Waller. He's pretty good. And this guy's only got Komet. Probably going to see some tight ends off the board here. I would have considered Tajay Spears. I have not been taking a ton of Gerald Everett. And I probably need to do that. I've been taking a lot of Juwan Johnson. But I don't know. I think I can run this. I think I can run this again another round on tight end. I mean, Conklin, Ferguson, Fant, Jelani Woods, Trey McBride. I don't really see a lot of teams taking tight ends here. This guy's got Kelsey. He's probably going to look at tight end. I don't know what to do. There goes MBS. Again, top available players. It is Gerald Everett. I should probably just lock in Gerald Everett. I don't have any other Chargers on this team. Chargers week 17. They're going to get the Denver Broncos. I do have Samaje Perine on there. So we'll take Gerald Everett just to lock in at least one tight end I feel decent about. Let's look at Gerald Everett's numbers last year. Okay, so I want to immediately with tight ends, I want 8 to 10 points as a floor. Let's count up his double-digit games. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so almost half of Gerald Everett's games last year were above double digits. I could have taken Kenneth Gainwell here to pair with Rashad Penny. I'm super unsure of how that backfield is going to work. The thing about Gainwell last year is I was heavily invested in Gainwell. I was kind of disappointed. Only 1, 2, 3, only 4 games in the double digits. And they brought in DeAndre Swift, who's probably the best pass catching back easily on that team. So I like Gainwell. I've been drafting him enough this year where I just didn't need to force it. I did need more Gerald Everett's on my squad there. So that's kind of what dictated that. There goes Juwan Johnson. And I mean, at this point, Geno, Stafford, Pickett, 3 QBs, we're done. I think if you play an underdog, I know 3 quarterbacks is kind of like whatever. But in drafters with 20 rounds, you kind of want that third guy. And we did correlate it with Geno Smith week 17. Our running backs, we need to add more tickets here, whether it's, I mean, we got Cam Akers, James Conner, Samaje Perine, and Rashad Penny. I feel good about this, at least core for the whole year. Like we're going to get at least two running backs starting each week for us. I feel like that's a decent group of 4 here. Now we can kind of just add some handcuffs and some high potential guys. Receiving group is disgusting. Cooper Kupp, Devonta, DK, Watson, DJ Moore, Burks, and Gallup. Absolutely beautiful wide receiver core. And then Gerald Everett as our tight end 1. Doesn't feel great. Maybe we come back here with Taysom Hill. Which again, I don't even feel great about Taysom Hill, but it is what it is at this point. I do think there's maybe some like it's May as I record this. If you're watching this in June or if these guys have signed, like it's fine. But Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, man, I don't know where these guys are going to sign, but I'm willing to bet that they sign probably next week, maybe before June 1st or after. There's going to be some interesting roster moves, I think, after June 1st, and I mean, the Cowboys need to sign someone. I can see them signing a veteran back like Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette. I think the Bengals are a team that's probably going to sign a guy, and maybe even the Chargers. I'm going to collect Taysom Hill here, though. I do not feel great about it, but again, we kind of punted on the tight end position. There's no running backs that stick out here, so again, the tight ends start to pull up on the board value here. So we'll grab Taysom Hill. And last year, Taysom Hill, man. Let's see his double-digit games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we got 7 double-digit games from Everett last year. We got 7 from Taysom Hill. That's 14. Let's get one more tight end that's got some double-digit upside, and we could maybe call it good at the tight end position. Again, we're good on quarterback. If you waited for quarterback this late, Jimmy Garoppolo had a little, I think it was a knee procedure done. What was the note on that? Foot surgery in March. So that one, just another red flag for me on the Raiders. I have not been trying to target the Raiders at all in my best ball drafts. Sam Howell, though, I do like Howell quite a bit. Purdy, I like his value quite a bit. Desmond Ridder should be starting most of the year. I think people are kind of sleeping on the Falcons offense. Ridder could do a Ryan Tannehill type season where you just don't know. The tight ends here, there's Jake Ferguson. I just don't want to reach on any of these tight ends. Receivers, we're still good on receiver here. We should probably pull one of these running backs. And I'm not feeling great about anybody. We're just gonna grab Gus Edwards. The thing about Gus Edwards that I like is he's another one of those players that qualifies as 2022, his last year. That was his first season back from a serious knee injury. The Ravens also reworked his salary to give him some incentives. I'm not quite sure what those incentives are. I need to do some more research on that, but Ravens just love to ground and pound. Last year, he had 6 games with double-digit carries, only 3 touchdowns. But I do think he offers a safe floor. If anything happens to J.K. Dobbins, we're cooking with something there. And like I said at the beginning of the show, after doing so many drafts. I know this is my third $20 draft, but I'm pretty deep. I have over 60 best ball drafts done across DraftKings, Underdog, and Drafters. I need to get my exposures up on Gus Bus because I'm also pretty overexposed on J.K. Dobbins. But now the core of our team is here. Starting to see some tight ends creep up at the top available list. Again, I mentioned round 17, you can get Sam Howell, you can get Brock Purdy as your QB3s. These all look pretty good. I do like the Hunter Henry snag here too, and he stacked him with Mac Jones, which was nice. But Henry, he usually goes later. Otherwise, I would have grabbed him. But Henry's got a lot of double-digit upside too. He's a sneaky receiver, a sneaky receiving tight end. I know they have Mike Gesicki there, but Henry is super reliable when he's healthy. But anyways, let's start to look. We could maybe grab the Dallas backup leader in Deuce Vaughn. I read an article about him being used as a receiving weapon, and I cannot figure out what Dallas is doing at running back. Last year, they gave 424 rushing attempts to Zeke and Tony Pollard. And Pollard, I don't know if Pollard can handle that I don't know if Pollard can handle 250 carries in his first full season back from a serious foot injury. So I think putting your money on the Dallas backup running back situation, probably going to be pretty fruitful. I think that's, whether it's Deuce Vaughn or Malik Davis, they're probably going to come out of nowhere and sign a crazy veteran back on us. But I'm going to take Deuce Vaughn here. I have not been drafting him a ton. We get him basically at ADP, and he's our RB6. And at this point, I am feeling pretty good about what we have done. We have 2 more picks left. Honestly, I don't know if I need another wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, Treylon Burks, and Michael Gallup. Oh my goodness, that is the meat of this team. I think we went 6 wide receivers to start. We stole Michael Gallup for free at the end there, and now we're getting to fill out our roster here. We do need maybe 1 or 2 more tight ends. Noah Fant was free. I told you we'd be able to get him for free. Basically, all these tight ends are draftable at this point. There goes Ferguson and Luke Musgrave. I'll probably sign off with 1 more running back here, but we're probably going to grab these tight ends. Let's grab – I'm probably going to go with Noah Fant just to get him stacked with Geno, DK, and I guess also pairing with our Kenny Pickett week 17. I do love Jelani Woods. Trey McBride's an interesting guy too, because I'm probably expecting – I think we're expecting Zach Ertz to be on the PUP list to start the year. So keep an eye on for that. Trey McBride did have a big game last year, 7 for 78. You look at his last 5 games here, 3 receptions, 7, 3, 4, and 3. He's a guy that's going to be involved. He'll catch some touchdowns. I do expect him, and especially with rookie tight ends, man, year 2 is kind of that year where everything slows down. They take a big leap. Trey McBride's free in drafts. I think he's a hell of a pick at this point in the draft. So I could have taken him. I just didn't have anything that I was super excited about. I could have taken him, though, because I do have Eagles and some Cardinals on my team that would have correlated with that Week 17 game. But overall, Everett, Taysom Hill, and Noah Fant doesn't feel good. Let's see what Noah Fant did last year. And again, we're looking for double-digit games. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 double-digit games last year. I saw a couple 9s, 1 9. So some useful weeks from Noah Fant. And again, it just kind of goes with what I said. I think Seattle's offense is going to be improved, man. I'm excited about the Seahawks, and they're definitely a sleeper offense too. It's a cheap offense to get. DK Metcalf costs a 3rd. Tyler Lockett costs a 6th. JSN costs a 6th. Kenneth Walker costs like a late 4th round pick right now. Geno's in the 9th, 10th round. And you can easily plan a Noah Fant snag in the 19th round right now. But we're almost done. You see a lot of tight ends at the end of the draft here. We built a motley crew here of Everett, Taysom Hill, and Noah Fant. Everett and Noah Fant do correlate with their buys. That's not a good thing, both having the same buy. So hopefully Taysom Hill week 5, put up your 3 touchdown rushing game for us. That'd be sick. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, and 3 QBs. It's a decent build. We could get one more receiver here. I have been a fan of Paris Campbell, Tank Dell. I like him as well. Receivers are just so gross here, and we went super heavy on that. We can maybe look at a guy like Tutu Atwell. Did Puka Nakua go yet? Nakua. Puka Nakua has not been drafted yet, and he's getting some buzz over there in the Rams camp. That could be a nice pick. Part of me wants to take one more running back. Cam Akers, James Conner, P. Ryan, Penny, Gus Edwards, and Deuce Vaughn. Is 6 enough to get it done? Maybe. I don't know if any receiver I take here, I don't know if he's going to start, man, for us at any point. Like we're so top heavy at wide receiver. Running backs I like this late. I mean, what if Eric Gray is the starting running back? Keontae Ingram is our backup to James Conner. That could make some sense. Zamir White, backup to Josh Jacobs, who has not reported yet and hasn't signed his deal, I believe. Cordero Patterson, still going to catch some touchdowns probably. Zaya Spiller, the backup in LA offense. But I'm going to do this. We're going to take Malik Davis. I want 2 chips on that Dallas backfield. We got Deuce Vaughn and Malik Davis. One of those guys is going to be used. Because like I said, last year, man, Zeke and Tony Pollard combined for 424 carries. And now you have Mike McCarthy saying that he wants to run the ball more this year. I know it's coach speak. We don't want to buy into it all the time. But 424 carries between Zeke and Tony. And I think the year before that, it was well in the 300s again between those two. And I don't think Tony Pollard can hold up for 250 to 300 carries. They're going to have to share the load with Deuce and maybe Malik Davis here. So I think, I don't know. That was fun. What do you guys think in the comments? Geno, Stafford, Pickett, we kind of went late quarterback. I think it's enough to get us to where we need to go. We went empty on running backs. I think Cam Akers and James Conner can hold the fort down at the top 2 positions, and we'll get some contributions from Samaje, Penny, Gus, and then one of the Dallas guys. Receivers, man, fantastic receiver group. Some best ballers in here for sure. DK and Watson have that boom bust. Traylon Burks, Michael Gallup, they got some boom bust to him. And then we'll see about the tight ends. I don't know how great I feel about it. I think it's a fun one. 3-7-7-3 build. Again, that's the Drafters. If you guys are new on Drafters, use the promo code in the link in the description. You can sign up, and I think they're either doing a 20. I don't know. I've seen $100 deposit matches. Otherwise, it's 20. Awesome, man. The breakout running backs. We'll take a look at it. I've been loving taking the running backs anywhere from like the 10th to the in the back half of the draft, man. I love looking for running backs, so we'll take a look at that. But hey, thank you guys for hanging out. This will be my last stream. We're gonna take the weekend off. I got too many drafts already under my belt, so we'll kind of regroup in June. But thank you guys for watching. Check out Big Drafters Energy, by the way. He's got some nice live streams and some videos, and we'll have to check out this running back video. So check out Big Drafters Energy. Check out Drafters if you're new. And hey, happy Memorial Weekend, everybody. Enjoy the holiday. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.